everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your weekly angel card reading for Monday, December 10th through Sunday, December 16th, 2018. For this week's weekly reading, we'll be using the Angel Tarot deck by Radley Valentine for the main message for everyone, and your special message card, depending on your stone of choice this week, will be coming from the Messages from Your Angels Divination deck. So let's get started by looking at what your stones of choice are. So your first stone of choice is this beautiful two-tone blue agate. Okay, so it's got a nice, beautiful kind of light sky blue on the top, and it's got a much darker blue on the bottom. This is going to relate to the throat chakra as well as the ear chakras. So this is about speaking your truth with integrity, channeling information, hearing messages, or increasing your sense of clairaudience. And the question posed with this stone when I chose it was, where do you need to speak your truth? Or with whom do you need to speak your truth? Or how do you need to speak your truth? So if these are questions relating to communication with other people, or maybe it's about speaking your truth with yourself, if this is something that you've been thinking about or dealing with over the past few days, maybe this is your stone of choice for the week. Your second stone of choice is this beautiful pink Rhodochrosite. Now, the Rhodochrosite is going to relate to the heart chakra. This is your center of healing, your center of unconditional love, your center of compassion. This is about self-love, self-nurturing, and it can be about loving and nurturing others, but really it starts with that idea of being gentle with yourself. So if your question over the past few days or your thoughts over the past few days has to do with how can I nurture myself or honor myself in a better way? How can I respect myself and set good boundaries for myself? How can I take care of myself in the best way possible so that I can take care of and be the best person in other relationships that I possibly can be? So if this has kind of been relationship area of your life has been part of what's going on for you, then maybe this is your stone of choice for the week. And then your last stone of choice is this beautiful picture jasper. And again, I don't know how well you can see in this lighting the picture jasper, but this is a brown stone, and it's got a lot of different kind of squiggly lines in it. And I hope that you're able to see that. Let me see if I can turn the light here just a little bit so that maybe you can see it a little bit better. These squiggly lines, this is what makes it the picture jasper. You know, they call it that because it almost, those lines create like a picture in some way, shape, or form. When I see the picture jasper, it makes me think of different directions. It makes me think of that there's a lot of things going on and happening at once, and there's different choices or different directions that I could go into, but it's a little bit confusing and chaotic right now, so I'm not sure which is the best choice. That's what I think about when I think of the picture jasper. Now, this is going to relate to the root chakra. You know, it's a darker stone, so again, it has that more grounded, focused kind of energy to it. So this can deal with finances, matters of security, which of course does include money and finances. So if one of your questions or energies that you've been dealing with over the past few days deals with like career path, destiny path, money, finances, feeling secure, you know, feeling grounded, feeling focused, feeling organized, then perhaps this is your stone of choice for the week. So again, your stones of choice are that blue agate, the Rhodochrosite, or the picture jasper. So let's talk a little bit about the astrological energies for the week. Now, there's not a whole lot going on. Now, I just want to remind that last week we had kind of a busy week last week, and so just to recap, Mercury has just gone back to direct motion on December 6th. Chiron has just gone back to direct motion on December 11th. So just on Sunday the 11th, Chiron went direct. So both of those planets are not moving very fast, for starters. The other thing that happened last week is that we had a new moon in Sagittarius right around midweek. And that new moon had an aspect of Mars connecting with Neptune, so that things, even though it's about new beginnings, there might have been a lack of clarity, or maybe even some strange occurrences or events unfolding or happening because of the Mars-Neptune happening. Now, as we move into this week of December 10th through the 16th, the first major aspect we have is on Wednesday the 12th, where Mercury, the planet that rules our thoughts, our ideas, how we communicate with ourselves as well as ourselves, it's moving out of Scorpio and back into Sagittarius. Now, it entered Sagittarius some weeks ago, and it went up to, I believe it was 13 degrees of Sagittarius, and then it turned to retrograde motion, dipped back into Scorpio, which is where it went direct last week, and then subsequently, now it's moving back into Sagittarius. So all that being said, Mercury is still in its shadow period. Mercury, in these first few degrees, up to 13 degrees of Sagittarius, it's still considered in that shadow period to where things are still becoming more clear. The puzzle pieces are still being gathered. The information is still coming in before we have total clarity or before we're able to make a real clear decision. Now, that doesn't mean you have to hold off or that you even can hold off until Mercury is out of its shadow before making any decisions. If you can, it might be best, but if not, again, there still might be information or things that are still kind of trickling in and coming in that will bring and provide more and more clarity once that moves out of its shadow. But just Mercury moving into Sagittarius, I think, is going to bring a lighter energy, a more positive outlook. While it was in Scorpio, it deals with death and rebirth and transformation and looking at subconscious patterns, from a mental perspective. And that can sometimes be a heavy energy. The fire sign of Sagittarius is much more active and energized and brighter, and there's inspirational ideas that pop in, whether it be just something that pops into your own head, something that's being downloaded from the universe or from your angels and guides, or whether this be a creative kind of idea that you kind of come up with and that you have. It just happens to be a more active, flowing, moving, again, optimistic, positive sort of energy. But again, remember, it's still in its shadow for a few days. Okay. So the only other thing happening this week is with the moon, and I don't often talk about the moon. That I usually save that for my daily astrological posts on my Facebook page. But because we don't have any other what's called major aspects, I decided to talk about the moon being in Pisces Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Now, the moon is a fast-moving, what we call light. It's actually not technically a planet. The sun and the moon are called the lights in astrology. The moon because it's reflecting the light from the sun onto the earth. Now, the moon moves through a sign every 2.5 days. So in other words, it'll stay in Aries for about 2.5 days, and then it moves into Taurus, the next sign, and then it stays in Taurus approximately 2.5 days, and then it moves in Gemini, and so on. Now, the moon moving into Pisces for part of Thursday, all of Friday, and part of Saturday is going to connect with a lot of planets. And as I looked at this, I felt like it was a bit of a roller coaster kind of ride, because moon, as we know, is our emotional nature. It's how we feel. It's our subconscious patterns and subconscious ways of interacting emotionally with other people. Pisces is a sign that is very psychic, very intuitive, very compassionate, very loving, but very sensitive. It's a very empathic and sensitive kind of sign. So this means, first of all, moon just being in Pisces, we're going to be more emotionally sensitive. And then on Thursday, it's going to connect in a challenging way to Mercury, which is again the planet of our thoughts, the planet of the mind. It's going to connect in a challenging way to Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, which is making the energies even bigger. Jupiter also rules our belief systems, and so again, we might feel a little challenged as far as how we feel and what our belief system might be. And then it does make a positive connection to Venus. Venus is the planet of relationships and finances, but she is now in Scorpio, so that can bring a little bit of a real serious undertone with Venus as well. You know, Venus in Scorpio is about the divine feminine empowering themselves, and there can be, again, this death and rebirth and transformation kind of energy involved with the Scorpio sign. So even the moon connecting in a positive way to Venus might bring up a sense of needing to emotionally empower ourselves. But that challenge to Mercury and Jupiter just might kind of have this effect of, I want to say perhaps judgments towards ourselves, judgments towards our life, maybe judgments towards other people or groups. Again, it can expand the emotional sensitivities that we're feeling and make them even bigger, even broader. And it can bring in some challenge regarding communication as well because of Mercury. On Friday, the moon in Pisces now connects by what we call a sextile aspect to Saturn. A sextile is an aspect of opportunity, meaning there's an opportunity with those planetary energies. And because Saturn is a planet that rules karmic lessons, and he's considered the great teacher, the teacher of lessons, there's an opportunity for us to learn something here with the emotional waves of Piscean energy that we're going through with the moon there. And then the moon goes on to connect with both Neptune and Mars, which are both in Pisces. Neptune and Mars are still pretty close together. They came into a connection last week, which might have brought up some interesting or unusual or strange situations, or lack of clarity, or lack of feeling grounded, or our physical energy was tapped out a little bit, or maybe our health went through something. So those two planets are still pretty close together, and the moon now in Pisces is going to connect with both of those. So this, with moon and Neptune, it can increase our psychic abilities, our intuitive abilities. And then, though, with it connecting also with Mars, still there might be some confusion or lack of clarity, or lack of, kind of a sense of being focused or grounded. There's kind of that lack there, because Pisces likes to just kind of be mutable, and it's an intangible energy, it's a spiritual energy, it's something that is not real, focused or organized. And so it just might feel like, again, we're vacillating or going back and forth regarding something, or our energies might be all over the place. On Saturday, the moon in Pisces is connecting by a sextile to Pluto. So now there's an opportunity to transform something, or transmute something, or empower ourselves, because those are all keywords of Pluto. And then the moon in Pisces is going to challenge or square the sun in Sagittarius. The moon is our emotional nature, and the sun is our kind of personality, our projected personality or energy outward. So there's going to be some sort of a challenge between kind of how we're feeling or acting or reacting on the inside versus feeling or acting or reacting on the outside in circumstances and situations. And then the moon finally connects with Chiron. And Chiron, the wounded healer, as I mentioned, on December 11th, went back to direct motion. But it's a slow-moving planet, so it's still stationary at 27 degrees of Pisces. So because it's stationary and it's really not moving, it intensifies the energy of Chiron and bringing up all these wounds, this and past life wounds on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. And the moon is going to touch that off. So again, it's going to bring up some emotional, subconscious fears, anxieties, things that we need to move through and to heal, because Chiron is the shaman and the healer. So again, he brings in this aspect or this opportunity to heal those wounds through meditation, through alternative healing methods, through diet, through nutrition, through your dream time. There's all this potential for healing to take place. So let's go ahead now and look at the cards. I did meditate already and chose 3 cards for the week. And the first card, let's see what that is. I'll turn that over. Okay, so we start out with the 5 of air. And the 5 of air, again, let's see if I can get a little bit better lighting here. The 5 of air can be an unpredictable kind of card. And again, there's a lack of balance or clarity here on the mental realm, because the air suit is the suit of swords. It's the suit of the mind. And the message at the bottom says, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation and review everyone's motives. So again, this is our thoughts, our belief systems, our communications with others are maybe a little up and down, are maybe a little chaotic, or, you know, it's something to where sometimes this can be disagreements with other people, or there's some sort of squabbling or challenges between you and other people, or this can be just an aspect within our own minds. Our own thoughts are chaotic, our own thoughts are not focused, we're not very grounded with decisions that we're trying to make or needing to make. So, you know, it can either be about us internally on that mental level, or how we're projecting that thoughts, ideas, you know, potential judgments, or how we're communicating with others on the outer realm. So I think, you know, what I want to say is I feel like meditation is good, self-care is good, you know, making sure you have some downtime for yourself and you create proper boundaries is going to be good. But let's go ahead and take a look at the second card and see how we're going to follow that up. Okay, so now we have the Seven of Fire. And the Seven of Fire is like the Seven of Wands in the traditional tarot. The number 7 is very different than the number 5. The number 5, as I said, is chaotic and ungrounded energy, or busy energy, where there's a lot happening and a lot going on. Again, in the case of the 5 of air, a lot going on in the mind with our thoughts. Number 7 is more self-reflective. It's more internal. It's more contemplative. It's more meditative. It's more about going within, finding the answers within yourself, connecting with your higher self, connecting with your guides and angels. In the suit of fire, or wands, it's about the spiritual realm. So again, we're needing to really kind of regroup and refocus in a spiritual way, rather than reacting through communication or having our thoughts again kind of take over as far as the thoughts of the ego mind. This is about centering ourselves. This is about calming ourselves. This is about reflecting and contemplating maybe before we take action or before we move forward with something. The message at the bottom says, defend your beliefs and your decisions. Okay? And it says, stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. Now, both of these cards feels to me like we're talking about Mercury moving back into Sagittarius, which to me is a very positive, inspirational, creative, kind of energy. But it can definitely be about making decisions too quickly or reacting in a communicative way with someone else, or speaking to somebody with like a knee-jerk reaction without thinking things through, because Sagittarius is fire and it's mutable. And fire is unpredictable anyway. And when we add that mutable quality, mutable means changeable and it's all over the place. So this means that we maybe have been holding on to something for a long time as far as our thoughts are in our head. And as soon as Mercury goes into Sagittarius, it's like now we're starting to kind of direct our thoughts, direct our judgments, direct our opinions, direct our, that kind of thing in a communicative way with other people. And we might need to stand our ground with somebody. We might need to set a boundary, but it's also, again, more of a reactive kind of energy, which is why I suggest that with the number 7, you try to self-reflect a little bit. You try to internalize and balance yourself a little bit before, speaking, basically, before having that communication. All right. And as it says, choose your battles wisely. So, it might be best to, it's almost like, the old phrase of if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That kind of pops into my head. And that's kind of that idea of choose your battles wisely. At the same time, you don't want to hold on to something when you need to set a boundary or communicate something to somebody. But it just might be what we need to do is to take a moment, take a moment to self-reflect and ponder before, think about how you're going to present it, how you're going to communicate with somebody. So stand your ground, but choose your battles wisely. And then the last card, and I know the sun's kind of now shining on my face, so sorry about that. This is Major Arcana number 18 in the moon. I hope you can see that. Okay. And this is with Archangel Haniel. Archangel Haniel is the archangel that helps us with healing. Healing, if we have healing abilities or if we are a healer, Archangel Haniel helps us with that. She helps us with fine-tuning our intuitions and our psychic abilities. But Archangel Haniel is also the archangel that if we're in need of some sort of healing, can assist us with that as well. And now the moon card, of course, is dealing with subconscious patterns and belief systems, dealing with our subconscious fears and anxieties. And as I said, with the moon moving through Pisces and connecting with all of those planets, it's connecting with Mercury, it's connecting with Venus, it's connecting with Jupiter, and then Saturn, and then Neptune, and then Mars, and then Pluto, and then the Sun, and then Chiron. That's about almost every planet. So, the moon's really running its course here as it moves through Pisces. Some of those aspects are challenging, and some of those aspects are aspects, again, of opportunity or healing or tuning in to your intuition, your inner guidance, your higher soul self. The message at the bottom here says, important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So I feel like there's going to be a big emotional healing this week, a huge opportunity for healing, again, some subconscious patterns that presents themselves. Now, this can be healing through meditation, healing through journaling. This could be healing by seeking out alternative forms of healing like Reiki or flower essences or reflexology or essential oils or getting a massage. But again, this is a week, especially again with Chiron still at its stationary degree and not really moving much. There's an opportunity for a huge clearing, cleansing, transmuting, and transformation to take place on an emotional level. Okay? So a little bit, it seems like a little bit of ups and downs here. But again, great potential for healing to take place in this, I was going to say in this month of December, but this is a weekly video. But I feel like, again, in this whole month of December, there's huge potential for healing to take place. So let's take a look at your special message card depending on your stone of choice. And I just had a card fly out of the deck. So I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to say that this is a message for everyone before we get to your stones of choice. Interesting. So the card that flew out of the deck when I picked it up just now was Sonia. And it says, I bring you a message from your deceased loved one. I am happy, at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. So I feel like, we all have people on the other side, whether they're parents or grandparents, friends, perhaps children, perhaps our pets. I feel like this is a time of the year where, we start thinking about family. Christmas is coming up. And as we put our thoughts and our intentions and our energies out to those loved ones, whether those loved ones are still in third dimensional form, they're still alive, or whether they're on the other side, we start kind of pulling that energy to us. We pull, it's like, again, our thoughts create our reality. And if we're thinking about someone, and again, for instance, if we're thinking about a friend that we haven't talked to in a long time, all of a sudden that friend might call you or might email you out of the blue or text you. And it's the same with our loved ones on the other side. We start thinking, reminiscing about the holidays and when, all of our family members or when our pets were with us or whatever. It starts to attract that energy to where that connection, they're always there. They're always there watching over us and even trying to communicate with us. But as we start to think about and put out that intentional energy, it strengthens that connection to where we might have a dream about them, we might sense them or feel them, we might smell a perfume or a scent or a food that we associate with them. And that's them trying to communicate with us. And so I feel like there's definitely more of a family, especially, and again, friends or others that are trying to connect with us. So pay attention to what those messages might be through this week and throughout the holiday season, because they're there and they're wanting to communicate with us and share in love and laughter and all the good holiday times. All right, so let's go ahead and shuffle. For those of you that chose the blue agate, I'm going to ask for the blue agate people what message this one's calling my attention. Aurora says you are flying high right now, which may threaten others, but don't descend because others will soon become inspired by your example. So I feel like you either have just taken off somehow, and I mean taken off as far as maybe your career path, your destiny path, your sense of confidence or self-assuredness, or maybe you've just, I'm getting that some of you may have freed yourself from a relationship, whatever type of relationship it might be, business, romantic, family, that you've kind of freed yourself from something that maybe was disempowering in some way. So you either already have, just recently, or you're getting ready to kind of take off. When I look at this image, I feel like you're taking off, you're getting ready to fly, you're getting ready to venture into new realms, new directions, to feel more confident. Maybe some of you already do feel more confident. Maybe others of you are right now having a little bit of timidness and anxiety. But as soon as you start moving forward and as soon as you start taking off, you're going to feel free. You're going to feel more confident. It's like it's going to really expand your energies, expand your creativity, expand your self-awareness, expand your identity out into the world, based on career path, destiny path, life path. So there's a lot of soul growth and evolution that's getting ready to happen or is just starting to happen for you. And basically your angels and guides are saying they're protecting you and guiding you, and don't hold back from this growth, period. Don't hold back from allowing yourself to expand into new directions and new opportunities and just new experiences. Okay? All right. For those of you that chose the Rhodochrosite, let's give this a little shuffle. Asking for Rhodochrosite to show itself. Okay. I thought one was coming out, but they said no, not yet. So, Rhodochrosite people, show me this one. Rhodochrosite. Oh, so fitting for Rhodochrosite. Heart chakra stone, okay? Chantal. New romance is imminent, either with a newcomer or through a reignited passion in your existing relationship. Be open to giving and receiving love. So again, first of all, I'm going to go back to Rhodochrosite and that idea of self-nurturing, self-love, self-respect, self-compassion. It starts here with yourself first. So, this is what you need to do first is kind of open up your own heart chakra to yourself. Ask your inner child what it needs to heal. And then love that inner child. Give nurturing to that inner child. Give healing to that inner child. And then this can transform out into other relationships. Now, if you're single and looking, this is a very good indication that somebody new might be coming into your life this week, maybe in the couple weeks to come, but it's there on the precipice. It's coming. Your angels and guides want you to know it's on its way. Now, if you're already in an existing relationship, maybe that relationship has been having its own challenges, or maybe there's been some sort of emotional or physical distance between you and that loved one or person. Now, they're saying this can be also like family relationships as well as romantic relationships in this case. But there's going to be, again, this kind of reconnection or strengthened connection, something that allows it to grow even closer, more, more connected, more deep with its connection. Even those of you that are in a relationship that maybe it hasn't been challenging, but maybe it's just been the day-to-day thing and the getting ready for the Christmas holidays and other people and children and grandchildren taking your attention away. This is just saying that there's going to be this reconnection with your significant other, reconnection with your partnership. And maybe to take some time and make a date with your partner during this week or during this holiday season, so that connectedness can be strengthened and can be deepened for you. All right, and then for those of you that chose the Jasper, the picture Jasper people, asking to be shown, this one's calling my attention. Akasha, it says you are a spiritual teacher You have the ability to counsel others and help them awaken their spiritual gifts and divine life mission. The first thing that pops into my head as I read that and as I think about what I said about the picture Jasper is that some of you are light workers. Some of you, whether you're a life coach or a healer or an intuitive, that I feel like you're going to be having an increase in your business either this week or very soon. They're saying that you have that ability, obviously, this natural ability to help others, counsel others, guide others. And I just had a feeling like you're going to be having a resurgence of your business or an increase to your business or more people seeking your counsel or guidance. They're also saying that some of you have a lot of information to share in the way of thinking about teaching a class, teaching a workshop. Now, some of you do that anyway, so it would be a good time again to maybe teach something before the end of the year, but get a schedule ready for the beginning of 2019 as well. Others of you have information to share, but maybe haven't done that in a professional capacity. This is your message that it's time. It's time to trust yourself and be confident in yourself and to share that information, whether it be in a formal kind of class situation or an online lecture or a chat room, or even through a blog or writing an article or reading a book. You have this, innate knowledge and wisdom that needs to come out, that needs to be shared with others. Okay? All right, and that's part of your life mission, so it's time. So thank you all for all your support, sharing my videos, subscribing to my channel, all your wonderful supportive comments, checking out my website for those of you that get services with me. For those of you that send in donations, those are very appreciative. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And all your comments and support on Facebook and Instagram. So thank you so much all. I send you holidays, spirit, and happy holidays. Of course, we're not quite at Christmas yet, but I'm sending you lots of love and light and many, many angel blessings.